Today, I would like to talk to you about something that is perhaps the most important thing that you as a content creator needs to know, needs to understand, needs to internalize. Whether you're on YouTube or Twitch or whatever other platform that you're dealing with, this is going to be a problem that you're going to have to deal with during the life of your time online, and it's probably the biggest thing that contributes to people quitting rather than continuing to persevere. Now, obviously, I'm not going to be talking about channel growth because as of the recording of this video, if you look down at my subscriber count, I'm not exactly knocking down any doors with my numbers. But as my channel continues to grow over time, I'm encountering this issue more and more, and that is negative feedback from the community. Now, I have a few solutions for kind of dealing with this that I implement for myself, and I'll be sharing those at the end of the video. But I want to talk about the problem itself so that you guys can kind of understand what the problem is and why it is a problem, regardless of your mentality, because understanding the problem kind of helps you get to solving the problem. Now, I served more than 11 years of my life as a United States Marine, and you cannot participate in that organization for any length of time and achieve any level of success without having some kind of a thick skin. That's something that they beat into you really hard, is just learning to live with toughness, and that's just, you got to be able to do it. So I feel like I'm a little bit better equipped than maybe the average person is for dealing with online interactions with people, because I had a lot of training dealing with, negative feedback from various different sources. But even with that, I find that I struggle to deal with some of my interactions online because we have a natural response to the way that we deal with negative inputs from people. We as human beings are very social creatures. We're built around being social with other people. And because that's the way that it is, we're very sensitive to things that are said and things that other people do. So it's really important to understand that we have this innate need to fit in with people. We have this innate need to experience positive interactions with other people. And we have this urgent, fervent fear of any kind of negative inputs from other people. We're very much geared towards trying to get along, or whatever the phrase is for that. So it's very important to understand that, because one of the things that a lot of people don't really understand is that because we're wired that way, negative inputs tend to have a much more weighted effect on our self-image than positive inputs do. And the problem with that is that you could be getting 10, 20 positive inputs for every one input, but because the negative inputs hit so hard, it tends to overshadow all the good stuff that you heard, and that one little thing that somebody said just really gets in your brain and just kind of digs down deep and makes a home in your head. It's understanding that that's kind of how it works is the first step in the process of kind of learning to live with being online, interacting with, people you wouldn't normally interact with, because we have to understand that this social media thing that we have now, it's not the way that it's supposed to be as far as the way that we're wired to work. You're not meant to be exposed to, much less interact with, thousands upon thousands, or depending on your channel size, millions of people. We're not wired to do that. So it's important to understand that, number one, there's always going to be people out there who either just don't like you as a person because, they just don't like the way you look, or they don't like the way you talk, or they don't like your speech patterns, or whatever it is, or they're not going to like the work that you're doing. They're not going to like the kind of content that you're creating. They're not going to like your approach to that content because they have their own personal preferences of the way that they think that things should be, and when you don't fit that mold, they don't like it. Now, the problem is that a lot of them feel a need to let you know that they don't like it. So that leads me on to my next point, which is that you need to understand that the vast majority of people who are hopping into your comments section to leave you some kind of, supposed to be constructive criticism or just purely negative feedback, you need to understand that they don't matter. They just don't matter because they're just people. They're people just like you. And if they have time to take out of their day to come leave you some kind of complainy comment because they don't like your content, that means that they're not doing anything important with their time, and you shouldn't really hold too much weight onto their opinion. Unless you know they're a subscriber, like if it's somebody who is taking time and effort out of their day to actively support your channel, being a subscriber at the very least, or maybe a channel member, those are the people you should absolutely be giving a little bit more attention to, because A, they're more likely to be trying to help you if they're giving you some kind of negative feedback, and B, they're actually, they're putting some skin in the game at the very least by clicking the sub button, and that means they deserve a little bit more attention. Now, obviously, if some major content creator comes into your comments and has some things to say to you, somebody with 100,000 plus subs, and they're in the same general vein of things that you're doing, then sure, maybe their negative feedback you should internalize a little bit and maybe make some changes. But the vast majority of people who come in to leave you some kind of a negative comment, because the average normal person, they don't bother to take time to leave you a comment to let you know I didn't like your video. If they're not liking your video, they just hit the back button and go find something else. It's a special kind of jerk who feels the need to hop into your comment section to make sure that you know that they didn't like your comment. And that's exactly the kind of person who just isn't worth your time. Don't waste your time interacting with comments from people who are like that, because they're no better than you are, and a lot of times they're probably worse than you are, because they can't even get up the gumption to go do something that means anything. So just keep that in mind. When you get those kinds of negative comments, you have this need to please people. It's wired into each of us, but just you got to fight that urge. It's really important to do that. So you have to remember, the people who matter aren't the ones in your comment section leaving you negative comments and like talking crap about you. Those are not those are not the kind of people that you should be interacting with in the first place. Now, moving on to some of the things that I do to try to deal with this situation. First, I need to kind of explain one of my primary problems, and that is I have this OCD need to clear out my comment section, because I'm the kind of person who likes lists, and when I have a list of things that need to get done, it really bugs me when that list is still just sitting there. And the problem with the way that the YouTube Creator Studio works is that they don't provide very much in the way of an ability to alter the comments list. So they offer some basic filters, but they don't offer any filters that allow you to kind of customize the way that your feed shows up in a way that's beneficial and helps you to kind of filter out. Like they want you to filter to find specific things, but I would like to have some options that allow me to filter out the things that I don't want to see. So I would like to see, a filter that provides me with the ability to see just my subscribers and my members, and not both at the same. Like they don't have to be both. Like it can be either or. Unfortunately, they don't do that, and I think that would go a long way towards helping out with creators' mental health by being able to filter out most of the noise out there and really focus in on the people who are choosing to invest in your channel in some way. I think that would really help out. But because we don't have that, because I don't see that happening anytime in the near future, the way I kind of handle it is, first and foremost, I remember the parts that I just told you, that, the people who are taking time to hop into my channel, unless they're, I know they're a subscriber or they're a channel member especially, or, it's a known person who is hopping into my comments to let me know something, it's not worth my time. I'm not going to read that. I'm not even going to interact with that comment. It's just, they are not at a level where they're worth my attention. And it's the same for you, whether you have 1 subscriber or 1 million subscribers or 100 million subscribers. Obviously, people who make 100 million subscribers aren't reading their own comments. But the point I'm trying to make is that until somebody who has something is coming into your comments section actually say something to you, they haven't earned your attention. They just haven't. And that's just the way that it works. So you really want to focus on the people who contribute to your channel. Focus on people who are subscribers and members. And then if you're like me and you need to clear out comments, you absolutely must clear out the list. I just leave a dot. Whenever I start to realize that a comment isn't really worth my time, once I realize this isn't constructive criticism, it's just, I don't like your content, I just respond with a dot just to clear it off of my Creator Studio, and then I move on with my day. It's not the optimal solution, because I would love to just make it so I don't have to interact with that kind of comment at all, but it's what we have. If you're the kind of person who can just let your comments list grow and it's fine, then, more power to you. But it makes it kind of hard to when you have a long list of comments just kind of sitting there, there are certain comments that you really want to interact with, and it becomes very difficult to do that when you have a long list of just stuff that's sitting there. So I really want to be able to clear that stuff out, and I just respond with a dot. So if you are somebody who watches my channel and you get a dot as a response, it means that you left me a comment that I found unworthy of my time and attention. And I highly encourage more people to figure out little ways of responding to user comments in a way that makes it clear that I don't care about your opinion and I'm not going to respond to it, and I'm just clearing you off my list, because that's perfectly reasonable. If you as a viewer are going to come into my comment section to be rude and disrespectful, then I'm going to be rude and disrespectful back. And you as a content creator should be the same. You don't have to cater to everybody, and it really hurts your mental health when you try to do that. So that's all I really wanted to say. I know this was a relatively long video about a simple subject, well, it seems like a simple subject, but it's not. We really need to understand that we're wired to crave positivity from people. And when we get negative feedback from people, it always has an outsized effect on how you feel. So it's really important that when you get those kinds of things, the very first thing you do is think about, this person doesn't matter, right? Unless they fall into the category of people that do matter. This person doesn't matter. Their opinion doesn't matter. And I don't need to interact with this any more than just doing something to clear them off of my plate. So just keep that in mind. Hopefully that will help steel you to continue pursuing your content creation dreams. And yeah, hopefully it helps you guys out. So thanks for watching. Be sure to, if this video helped you in any way, be sure to like and subscribe and help us get up to that 10,000 subscriber mark. Join the channel as a member if you found it particularly useful or you like any of our other content that we do. You'll get early access to videos among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button if you just particularly like this one video. Also, I have PayPal and Patreon links in the description if you prefer to go outside of the YouTube economy to help out with that. But other than that, hopefully this video helped you out. Be sure to come back for future content, and I'll see you then.